It's time for Dr. Ron's near end of the gardening season garden tour. We're starting back here in the back of the vegetable garden where I planted one warty barfkin. There's a really nice example of a warty barfkin right there. We also have a second warty barfkin that sprouted, and that one's still green right there. It's September 15th, so in the next 6 weeks we're hoping that turns orange so we can use it for Halloween. These, of course, are the runner beans. We'll have a look at those in a while. That's the broccoli over there. We have harvested all of the broccoli, and there's nothing left but little nubs. These are the zucchini squashes. We had a fabulous season with zucchini squashes. And next to that, we have yellow squashes, which we also had a fabulous season with. Plenty of the things coming through. There's a little yellow squash that has a couple more days before it makes it to the table. These, of course, are the collard greens. I always grow many more collard greens than I can use. These are the biggest ones I've ever seen, though. I got collard greens over here that are about like 3.5 feet high at this point. These are my tomatoes. This year I grew 4th of July tomatoes. They come out about the size of a ping pong ball, a little bigger, but they're really prolific. You get a gazillion of them, right? I also grew beefsteak, and those are nice because they're huge, but I don't like them so much because you get like 2 tomatoes per plant, right? And that's not so great. These are Brussels sprouts, and the Brussels sprouts are not really turning out any sprouts. I actually killed a few of them because they were crowded. So those aren't doing so great. I probably won't get any Brussels sprouts out of those. These are more runner beans. Look at the magnificent red runner beans flowers there. I can look out my kitchen window about any time of day, and if I wait just a couple minutes, you see the hummingbirds coming through here. The hummingbirds need lots and lots of energy because they're getting ready to fly down to the Amazon basin. So the ruby-throat hummingbirds are all over. They just absolutely love these red runner bean flowers. They must be full of nectar, right? This is my tomatillo plant. My tomatillo plant this year is doing really well. It's been a great year for gardening. They're super big. They're about ready to turn brown in the husk and burst through the husk. So I should get enough tomatillos this year to make a nice green chili. I like a green chili where you use tomatillos instead of tomatoes. Oh, look. It's a red runner bean that's dry, ready to go inside to be planted for next year. Right? So over here we have the patio plants. It is September 15th, so the patio plants are looking pretty ratty. These are my heirloom purple beans, and we got lots and lots of those this year. These are the 2 purple bean plants that I'm letting go to get seed for next year. You see the beans are very bright purple. They turn green when you cook them, right? The patio plants are looking pretty ratty. We've had some cold weather. A few days ago, we came very near to having a frost, so that took its toll on a lot of the patio flowers. Here's my alyssum. I grow 2 of these alyssums every year. This is mixed white and purple. I just love them. Lots and lots of zinnias this year. Big, tall zinnias, since we've had such a nice growing year. This is 1 pot of purple zinnias. There's lots and lots of these gorgeous zinnia flowers. This is my basil. We've been harvesting basil all summer long, beginning about, I'd say about the middle of June, right? More flowers. I bought a package of marigold seeds, where I usually buy the marigolds straight from the nursery. And the seeds that I got are these giant marigolds. I've never grown marigolds so high. Over here in the flower garden, the marigolds I'm looking at them over there. Some of those marigolds are getting about 5 feet high. I've never seen them that tall. Here's a thyme plant, using thyme all summer long. It's a very ratty cherry tomato plant. This is a very hot Thai pepper. Lots of dill, volunteer dill that's coming up out of the cracks in the patio. This is a very nice rosemary plant. I also have a lot of these herbs out in the garden. Mostly I've been plucking the ones out in the garden. That's why these look so nice in the patio pots. We're saving those to go inside before the frost hits, so we can have them a few more weeks. Here's another nice hot pepper. What is this? This is not a jalapeno. I forget what those are. They're not habaneros either. I forget what kind I planted there. Here are the magnificent sunflowers in the flower garden. I planted a rose, and the Japanese beetles almost killed off the rose that I bought. But now the rose is recovered and the Japanese beetles are gone. I don't know what happened to them, right? Here's those marigolds. Now see, I'm holding the camera here chin high for me, and this marigold is up over chin high. So it's about 5.5 feet tall, right? There's a gorgeous purple zinnia. So the sunflowers, I plant these mammoth sunflowers every year, and they do super, super well. So there's a look at a nice mammoth sunflower. That's the tallest one up there. It's almost as high as the telephone wire. There's about 20 of them in here, and all of them are really, really gorgeous big. And of course the bumblebees just adore those. I'm surprised the squirrels haven't got them yet. The squirrels climb the stalks to get at the flower heads because they know there's seeds in there, right? Maybe it's the fact that I've been shooting the squirrels the past couple of years, and that keeps them away. I hope so. I shoot the squirrels with a pellet gun because they get in my stuff and wreck them. They steal my tomatoes. Every year they take every single apple off of my apple tree there. I feel bad about shooting them, but the guy wants his garden. Oh look, a bumblebee on a sedum. There he is. There's a honeybee right there. I got these sedums planted all over because the bees just adore these sedums. There's a honeybee. This time of year, they're kind of the most gorgeous thing there is. And they produce a lot of nectar for all the bees who need a lot of nectar this time of year because they're going to be hibernating, or at least turning down their activities, right? I let a lot of milkweed go in the flower garden this year. All summer long, well, really at the beginning of the summer, I start seeing monarch butterflies, and then they disappear because they go further north. And then it's about the middle of the end of August, beginning in the middle of August, that I see the monarch butterflies for 2-3 more weeks. And now, of course, that last generation of monarchs is heading for Mexico. So we don't have any now. The ones that came through in August are now done. These are the Chinese noodle beans. I ate as many Chinese noodle beans as I could, and I froze 2 big gallon-sized bags of Chinese noodle beans. So I'm just letting the rest of these go to seed. Usually I don't leave this many to go to seed, but I have not been going into the college. I bring a lot of produce into the college, and I haven't been doing that because, of course, we live in COVID world, right? I've only been to the college once this summer, and when I went in, I brought a bunch of zucchinis and stuff and gave them to the security people. But I'm stuck with a lot of these Chinese noodle beans. Look at how many of them there are. There's just a gazillion of them. Right? They get big and fat like this, and those are ready to go to seed. In fact, I can tear these open and eat the seed in the middle. It's a bean, and it actually looks exactly like a black-eyed pea. Right? So I might do that. Once I get a lot of fat ones like this, I think we'll try to eat the bean on the inside. Another nice zinnia coming out of the potted tomatoes on the side of the house are kind of done at this point. There's a few more left. Another look at all the gazillions of Chinese runner beans. My mums are nice and bright red. They start in the middle of the summer and they're bright red like this until the first frost kicks in. Right? There's a bunch more Chinese noodle beans. You can see the surplus I have. Kind of obnoxious. I got this volunteer pumpkin this year. I did not plant this pumpkin. This pumpkin sprouted right out of the side of the house here, where I keep a lot of my little lawn ornaments. My creatures, right? The mail lady calls these my creatures. So there's Donkey. There's Mr. Lobster, Mr. Turtle, a couple of my lizards. That pumpkin is out here year-round. There's Mr. Owl. So this pumpkin sprouted from right there, right out of the rocks. Near as I can tell, I had pumpkins out here like I do every Halloween, and the squirrels must have chowed into them and spread seeds around, right? There must have been a few seeds left, so a seed must have flicked off a pumpkin in here, and it's not the warty barfkins that I grow. This is a store-bought pumpkin, and it got a little home there over the winter, and this spring it started to sprout up, and I did not plant it. It's only got one pumpkin on it. And see, that's not the warty ones that I buy or that I grow on my own. That's how I know it's a volunteer. There's the spruce garden, looking really nice. Although the lilies of the valley are dying now. This is my giant hosta. Thing truly is about 6 feet across. There's more sedums over there. I could count the number of bumblebees on that one sedum, and there's about 20 of them. I just love that. Right? This is my front steps where I keep geraniums and other flowers. Right? Here's some potted mums. I need to do something with those. They're looking kind of sad. I need to cut them so they grow more, or even plant them in the ground here. These are my 2 big pots that I keep. I grew this elephant ear plant this year. It never got very big. It's in this pot out front, but it's something different. Deadhead some marigolds so they make more flowers before the fall hits. Right? I love Dusty Millers, and I always keep Dusty Millers in these 2 front pots. The front step. I'll put this one back where it goes. It actually goes right there, so they're kind of side by side. It's just a gorgeous thing to have in front of your house. There's turkey. Turkey's never been on film before. I got this turkey at the Minnesota State Fair last year. Right? Minnesota State Fair 2019. So he's not been on film before. The state was canceled this year, of course, because of the COVID virus. There's Kevin. I've had Kevin a long time now. We call him Kevin because he looks like the bird from Up. Right? So there he is. He looks like he's pecking at turkey. Turkey's funny. There's a male turkey who got kicked out of the turkey flock over in Audubon Park. And that male turkey twice has come over here and displayed at this steel painted turkey like the 2 are rivals. In fact, I was planting pumpkins over here one day, and that turkey came around the corner, and I was sitting there on my hands and knees, right? He thinks this is his turkey buddy out here. I planted this bayberry in the spring, so I'm hoping this bayberry makes it through the winter. We're kind of running out of light out here. Here are the warty barfkins. I plant some warty barfkins every year, so I have them for Halloween. Why do we call them warty barfkins? Because they are warty. You see how warty that is? This one's even bigger. This one's gorgeous. That's a lovely, lovely warty barfkin. So we carve them, and then we carve a mouth in them, and we pull their guts out their mouth so that they look like they're barfing, right? You carve a face on it, and you pull the pumpkin guts out their mouth so they look like they're throwing up. So that's why they are warty, and they barf. They're warty barfkins. This is a nice red cabbage I planted out front. So I'm going to get a nice cabbage out of there, especially if we get 6 more weeks. These are more warty barfkins. These are much, much smaller than the ones I've been showing you. These are about the size of softballs. This one plant actually kicked out 4 fruit. And this plant is just about a goner. But we don't want to pluck the warty barfkins yet, because the minute you pluck them, they start to decay. This is my smoke tree, which I thought was just about dead this spring. It took so long for the smoke tree to actually start to leaf up. And now it's had a great year because of all the rain. So I cut off a bunch of the dead parts because we had a late spring and some real cold temperatures even into May. But now it's grown even higher than it was when I trimmed it. And I have red runner beans, right? The scarlet runner beans are in there, and they're actually climbing up the middle of the tree. I plant the scarlet runner beans down in there, and they climb right up the trunk. So there's marigolds around the tree, and lots of zinnias around the tree. Down there, we should just go down there. Wait. I asked the arborist at Minneapolis if I could get a ginkgo when they took out the ash trees here. And by God, the guy was nice enough to actually give me a ginkgo. So So I've been very, very good about watering this ginkgo tree, because I want it to do well, right? So we can't wait for that to grow up. It'll turn yellow this fall and produce those really gorgeous gold yellow leaves. This is one of my planters out front. Lots and lots of sedum with bumblebees all over. And I planted a couple of sunflowers in the planter this year. So you see there's a sunflower there that looks to be about 6.5 feet tall. Right? Oh, I'm in the process of getting the native black-eyed Susan wildflowers to grow right across the boulevard, right? The boulevard here owned by the city, it has grass in it, but I've been spreading these black-eyed Susan seeds a little at a time so that hopefully next year, in a couple years, I'll have nothing but black-eyed Susans right across the boulevard. I have my hostas that I plant on either side of my steps. Not because I like them so much, even though they're nice, but to keep the gully from getting bigger on either side of the steps. Right? And that, so I'm looking around here. Here's some sedums with some more bees on them. We're upsetting the bumblebees. Let's end on a bumblebee. That concludes Dr. Ron's garden tour for summer 2020, the summer of COVID. It's not all bad.